All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 5:05.
So we're waiting for Vicky.
I would like to call the Public Works Committee meeting for June 26, 2018 to order. I'm Paul Bergdorf. I'm the chairman. I got a note from my vice chair, Vicky Plotsky, that she was at work and trying to get out and she'd be here as soon as possible. We've got a 5:30 Social Services Committee meeting scheduled, so I think at this point in time, we'd like to go ahead. The first four agenda items are for the water purification.
Minutes. Minutes for last week's.
Motion, we approve the minutes.
Thank you. First order of business. May we, has everybody reviewed the minutes?
Yes.
Does anybody have any alterations, suggestions, deletions?
No.
If not, I would accept the motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Reinhardt. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now I'll go back into welcoming Tyler Masick. Tyler is the superintendent of the Water Purification District. Tim Murphy told me that because of vacations, they couldn't get their monthly meeting together on a Wednesday, and tonight was the only night they could, and they were actually passing their budget, which is a critical item for them tonight. So he asked Tyler to fill in for him. There are four items, number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all different grant applications. I'll read all four of them, and do we want to handle these as a group, or
They handle it from different groups, so you have to
two are from EFC, one's from DEC, one's from Minnesota, so we should do them all separately?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, number 1, authorizing the submission of a grant application to New York State Department of Environmental Facility Corporation regarding the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act grant. It's a grant application where we can get up to $5 million. Tyler?
Yes, thank you. This is a grant application through EFC for water infrastructure improvement. Like I said, up to $5 million. This would all be for the anaerobic digester project that we're currently looking at doing jointly with Saratoga County.
Okay. Any questions? Concerns? Now, these are the gross numbers, and anything we got would be, the benefit would be split equally to both Saratoga and Albany County, right?
Yes.
So, okay.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Lockhart, second. Second by Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Ms. Plotsky, would you care to vote on the first grant application?
Yes. Is that a yes?
Very good, unanimous. Please note that Ms. Plotsky came in, our vice chair, and has voted in the affirmative on item number 1. Item number 2, authorizing submission of a grant application to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for water quality improvements grant program, and this is for a grant application up to $2.5 million. Any questions for Tyler?
Yes, again, this is related to the anaerobic digester project. We felt that by shutting down incinerators at the 2 facilities or 3 facilities, there are direct water quality improvements with that. So this is another grant that we're chasing after.
Okay, any questions from the committee? If none, I would accept the motion.
So moved.
Moved by Bill Reinhardt, seconded by Mr. Miller. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. The motion is carried. Okay, number 3, authorizing submission of a grant application to the New York State Environmental Facility Corporation regarding the Intermunicipal Water Infrastructure Grant. This is a grant application for up to $10 million. Tyler?
Yes, another grant for the anaerobic digester project. This one is along with Saratoga County. Again, it would be split if we were to obtain the grant.
Okay.
I just have one question on this one. And I guess it kind of relates to the earlier 2 as well. Since these are both, or two of these are going to EFC, do we diminish our chances to get any one of them by submitting multiple ones? Or is this kind of expected that these are each different pieces of the total project and they're comfortable with that kind of a situation?
In our discussions with EFC, they basically say put in for all of them that you want, and then how they score them, it's kind of up to them. So I mean, you can tailor your applications to try to go after one a little more than the other. I wouldn't say that it diminishes your chances of getting other grants. So.
Is Saratoga also applying for these things, or it's just our?
There'll be joint applications.
Okay. And who's writing it?
We're
Jointly,
working
or-
with a consultant to tailor the narratives on them.
Okay.
All righty, any other questions from the committee? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Joe O'Brien, seconded by Ms. Lockhart. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion is carried. The fourth one, authorizing the submission of a grant application to New York State Energy Research and Development Authority regarding the NYSERDA Zero Net Energy for Economic Development Grant up to $1 million. Tyler?
Yes, this grant through NYSERDA is up for $1 million. We look at this grant as, by using less natural gas through our incinerators, generating renewable gas through the digesters, it fits the bill of achieving that net zero goal at a wastewater facility.
Questions?
This is more of a comment. I called Tim about this one, and I guess I caught him when he was not in the middle of his budget planning. I asked him about this because it's an NYSERDA grant, and because he's spoken in the past about putting solar at the facility as well, I wanted to make sure that when they were using the NYSERDA money to essentially assess the energy situation at the site and trying to get to net zero, which I'll be happy to explain if anybody wants to know what that means, that he make sure they kind of look at the relationship between the digester and any solar possibilities, so that they don't make a decision in either designing or constructing the digester that makes it impossible to put solar, because of a location of a pipe or whatever. And he said that's what they're planning on. They understand these things are connected, and their goal is to not make it difficult to use solar down the road as a follow-up step. So I wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
That's excellent. Good job. Any other questions, comments? Frank?
I don't sit on the committee, but is Saratoga taking some kind of action also, or is it just Albany County taking action? I don't see any member of this Saratoga board present, and I just don't want to get caught on the hook if something goes belly up down the road. They say, we never voted for that. You have a lot of agreements in here, but the lawmaking body of Saratoga
Well,
may not be voting on this.
I asked Timmy whether or not this was these grants were a 50-50 partnership with Saratoga, and he answered in the affirmative.
I understand that, but we have our 50% at the table. Where are they?
Well, they've always taken
they gonna-
independent action. Can you?
I can't speak for Saratoga County. I don't know exactly their procedures as far as submitting grant applications, but I know that Tim has spoken with the executive director there, and he's on board as well for these grants.
But that's
You're asking, is their legislature also voting on it?
the board of,
That's
the board
correct.
of,
Yeah.
Is there some kind of action being taken there? Are we doing it?
Yeah,
the board of,
we have to approve it
they have a
here.
board of supervisors, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, in actuality, all we're approving is the submission of a grant application. In order to accept the money, we would have to take additional action. Is that correct?
So it's a joint
To
application.
accept the funds.
So it's a joint application, and I assume their legislature would have to approve it also.
Yeah.
To do the
I know what
Not
you're
only
saying.
that, but it may have more teeth in it if we have the two.
Well, obviously.
Maybe they voted on it, right? Just like we
I'm
have.
not clear on something here. We know that these are joint applications for the grant money,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Yes. So we know that the county, both counties are putting their fingerprints on the applications. It's going to look better that way. That seems to be happening. Mr. Ed, what's his name? The guy who was down at the center, big event. He's the head of a board of supervisors, isn't he? So, I mean, I think they're on board. Because
I don't think there's-
that body seems to be very
We're doing a
excited.
lot of thinking for a lot of money
Well, that's true.
in a big project.
And then-
Let's dot our i's and cross our t's and move forward.
Well, why don't, may I
Where's the
suggest that we
legal-
do the
where's the law?
following, that we verify that the Saratoga County Board is,
Maybe we don't need them, Paul, but I think, you know, there should
well,
be some.
I think it's a legitimate question. However, we also realize that we are starting the process to go out and get a grant. And we know that a grant is, especially with shared services and in the intermunicipal agreements, I would bet that if Tim were here, he would tell us that his intermunicipal agreement with Saratoga County probably spells this out. So I would like to assume that that's the case, because if I add these 4 items up, it's $18.5 million in potential funding for a $44 million project. I would hate to slow that down. We do have another bite at the apple when any money comes back in or is suggested that we accept it. And in the interim, perhaps we can reach out to Tim and the Water Purification District and see if this is covered in the.
I gotta believe that the Board of Supervisors are voting on it as well, like we are, to move
We have done
forward,
everything in
to move
parallel.
forward with the grant. I mean, I don't think we can move forward without their okay, but I think you're right, we need to have it clarified.
There's no reason for us to delay.
No. It's a good question, it's just, we want to make sure we're...
Tyler, would you bring that back to Tim and ask him to clarify that and to send an answer back to myself and Vicki and the council as to what the status is with the Saratoga County's approval of the grant process?
Absolutely.
Is that,
Yeah.
is everybody
Yeah,
okay with that?
good question, Frank, good question.
All right. Any
You'll forward that to the rest of the committee?
Absolutely, absolutely. And any other questions, comments, concerns?
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion. Ms. Lockhart, second. Ms. Blatsky, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Congratulations, Tyler. Go out and get us the money.
Try to.
All righty.
Tell Timmy
Don't
did an
spend it
excellent
until you come
job.
back.
Make sure you can take it. Now, the big item on the agenda, authorizing an easement to National Grid for the installation of a guide wire at the Water Purification District South Plant.
Jeez.
Yes, the port had reached out to us in regards to the warehouse project that's on the corners of Church and Boat Street down there in the port. National Grid has to relocate an overhead wire along with some poles. There was a map attached to that packet there. I checked the layout myself along with a chief of maintenance. The poles are going to be outside of our fence line. The really only impact is one anchor wire to support the pole. Will be going on our side of the fence. Has no impact on the district's operation.
Question?
One question, it looks like it's just a short area of our property anyway, but I just want to make sure there's no future plans that might conflict with this wire.
Plans on our end? or-
Yeah, right, all right, yeah.
Where this is the southeast corner. I mean, there's really nothing in that area. So as far as future plans,
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Miller. Second by Mr. Reinhardt. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion is carried. That is all our agenda is for this month, ladies and gentlemen. With that, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Joe, Patty,
Everybody.
Bill,
And
Paul.
let the record show that Vicki made her best effort to get here on time.
She voted on every matter. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.